If you've been living under a rock, you'd be surprised to hear that with all of the hate Pokémon Scarlet and Violet got on release, these games are the best games to hunt for shiny Pokémon. There was a recent discovery in the Indigo Disc DLC that will allow you to never lose a shiny Pokémon again to an explosion, memento, or accidentally killing it. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to become a successful shiny hunter in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and even veteran shiny hunters may learn a thing or two. There will be timestamps in the description in case you want to skip parts or review other sections that we previously went over. Let's get started. Before we get into the new information, let's do a quick recap about shiny hunting. The goal for having the best shiny hunts is to maximize how low you can make the shiny odds and how fast you can encounter the most amount of Pokemon at the same time. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are good for that because you can see up to 10 Pokemon at a time, and then through the use of outbreaks and sandwiches, you can make the shiny chances even lower than the normal odds with just the shiny charm. The first item that you will need is of course the shiny charm, which you get by completing the main Pokedex of Scarlet and Violet. If you're watching this video and you don't have the shiny charm, the game's been out for 3 years. What are you doing? The second item you will need is a ton of Herba Mystica. The correct way to get Herba Mystica is by making a specific type of raid power sandwich, doing one of these 6-star Terra raids and hoping for the best. Well, I'm here to tell you there's also a faster way to get Herba Mystica. If you go on YouTube in a separate tab from this video and search Herba Mystica raids, there will be a few streams that will have unlimited raids, even though it's kind of sketch. These raids will reward you with a certain amount of Herba Mystica every single raid, and just do them a bunch of times till you get as much as you need. The last thing you'll need to accomplish this is to complete the Indigo Disc DLC far enough to unlock the League Club room and unlock the item printer using Blueberry Points or BP. Then you'll also need to upgrade the item printer to the Master Ball tier just to be safe. Now that we have all of the pieces you need, you must be asking yourself, why do we need the item printer? Well, other than the fact that the item printer is the best way to grind out money, get all the Pokeballs and items you'll ever need, but as I alluded to before, there has been a new discovery that can guarantee at least 5 Master Balls per spin of the item printer, or any Pokeball you really want. If you don't care about what Pokeball your shiny Pokemon is in, if you do care, you probably don't need this video anyways. This will guarantee that you will never fail a shiny Pokemon to an explosion, memento, misclicking when you're trying to click false swipe, or something like that, because you will have a Master Ball for every single shiny. It might take you a couple tries before you actually get the spin down, but it's actually really easy to do. What you'll need to do is go talk to the item printer person to get to the dialog screen, then press the home button on your controller so we can do a date skip. Go to the system settings and scroll down to the settings, date time settings, turn off synchronized clock via the internet. Mine's already off. Then go to the date and time. The way that this can be done is you'll need an external stopwatch because the seconds actually matter. We can set the date and time to a specific date and minute, but we can't set it to a specific second. The way that this works is there's a certain time that if you set it and you get the timing right with the second, then it will guarantee a Pokeball Lotto, and then we do it again and it will guarantee a spin that has 5 Master Balls on it. Like I said, you might need to try this a couple times before it will work. So to guarantee the Pokeball, you'll need to change the clock to April 22nd, 2024 at 1:27 p.m. Then, as soon as you hit OK, start your stopwatch and go back to the game. The goal is now to go back to your game and select the option to start the Lotto so that the screen goes black on the 9th second. If you're playing on an OLED Switch, there's about a 1-second delay, and then if you're playing on a normal Switch, then there's a 2-second delay. For me, I'm on a normal Switch, so I have to hit the OK on the 7th second. That way it'll go to a black screen on the 9th second. Like I said, you may need to try this a couple times, but if you get it right, you'll either get 7 nuggets or a P-Max, and that's how you know, and it'll guarantee getting that Pokeball Lotto. Now that we have the Pokeball Lotto, what we're going to do is we're going to do another date skip. Back out of the screen, talk to the Pokeball Lotto person, and then go back to the same time and date settings. This time we're going to do March 25th, 2016 at 7:08 p.m. and the target is going to be 18 seconds. Again, there'll be around a 1-second delay for an OLED Switch and 2-second delay for a non-OLED Switch. Once you hit the target time, if you did it right, you'll get a spin that has 5 Master Balls. You can do this as many times as you want to get a healthy amount of 100, 200 Master Balls before starting your shiny hunting, so you don't have to keep going back. You can also do this for other kinds of Pokeballs, and in the description I will have a bunch of links for this video, but I'll leave a link to Osiris's video that explains more in depth how this works, so that way if you have any questions, he answers all of them. Okay, now that we have that boring step out of the way, it's time to decide our shiny hunt. When looking at your different options for shiny hunting, there are 3 main options. You have Masuda egg hunts, Sparkle Power 3 isolation hunts, and Outbreak hunting. There are some others, but these are the most consistent and easiest ways to start out with. The first, and my personal favorite, is Sparkle Power 3 isolation hunts. The idea of this method is you're going to create a Sparkle and Encounter Power 3 sandwich for the type of Pokemon that you want to hunt, and then go to a location where that Pokemon spawns. Ideally, only that Pokemon or that Pokemon and maybe one other are the ones that spawn in that area. And then you run around in circles, spawning and despawning until the shiny Pokemon appears. It makes a lot more sense in practice than in theory. So we're going to start off with hunting Great Tusk. Or if you're playing Pokemon Violet and following along with this video, you can hunt Iron Treads. Now for the sandwich ingredients, I will link a video in my description from Papa Hefe's channel where I originally got my list from, and I'll show it on the screen as well. Great Tusk is a ground fighting type, so we want to look at what other Pokemon spawn in that area, and Gibble and Gabite also spawn there, so we're going to go with a fighting sandwich so that way we can isolate Great Tusk and that be the only Pokemon that spawns. Make sure you save before you make the sandwich in case the first sandwich doesn't produce a shiny. I'm glad the process for making sandwiches is fairly simple. For this fighting sandwich, we need 1 cucumber, 3 pickles, and any 2 Herba Mystica, and we have our Sparkle Power and Encounter Power 3 level sandwich. So let's go to Area 0. We go down to the Research Station 4, and what I like to do is I like to make a giant loop around, jump down off this ledge, and we're going to run around until we find the shiny. And I chose Great Tusk because this shiny is super visible, and so you could just run around until you find it. And there we go. There's our shiny Great Tusk. Throw the Master Ball, and we have our first shiny of the video. Now for me, this method is the best and the fastest because you can just run around, spawn, despawn, and you're actively focusing the entire time, which is why it's my favorite. But the second method, which is Outbreak hunting, is kind of similar to this. So what you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to look around on the map, and you'll see these Pokemon icons that appear, and those are the outbreaks. If you don't find a Pokemon on the map that you want to hunt, all you have to do is date skip like what we did with the item printer, and you don't even have to change the date and time. Just go to that screen and then hit OK, go back to the game, and the outbreaks should change. And you just do that, keep resetting until you find a Pokemon that you want. If you want to learn exactly how the date skipping for outbreaks works and how you can try and maximize your odds for certain Pokemon, there are videos that I will try and link in the description below that will explain that better than I can. Once you find an outbreak that you want, fast travel to that location, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use the Let's Play feature to defeat 60 of that Pokemon. What I like to do is I have a counter app on my phone that I use because I lose track of counting when you try and knock out 60 at a time. And once you have those 60 Pokemon knocked out, that is the lowest outbreak odds that you can have. And you can certainly shiny hunt like this without needing to grind any Herba Mystica or anything like that. Obviously, if you use a Sparkle Power 3 sandwich, you'll go down from a 1 in 819 chance with the shiny charm to a 1 in 512 chance of finding a shiny. Oddly enough, same base odds as Pokemon Go. But that also uses Herba Mystica, and for people who don't want to grind for Herba Mystica, there is a better way. It will slightly lower your odds of finding a shiny, but as we'll show in our demonstration, it's not that bad. What you can do is you can go in the Indigo Disc DLC, go to the cafeteria, and then with BP, you can buy this meal, and it will give you Sparkle Power 1 for every type. So it doesn't matter what your hunt is and what outbreak you choose, you can get Sparkle Power 1 for that hunt. So let's do this in practice. I have this Trapinch outbreak that I found via date skipping, and we're going to go and knock out 60 of those Trapinch. Once you knock out 60, it should be a couple more after this notification pops up on the screen, and we'll go to the cafeteria, get the meal, and now we're going to picnic reset in that location. And what picnic reset does is you go to the location, pick a spot where it's flat ground and you can see all of the Pokemon spawns. Go into the picnic menu, and then as soon as you go into the picnic menu, it despawns all of the Pokemon, and as you exit, it will respawn all of the Pokemon, and you can check and make sure that there's no shiny. And you just repeat this until you find the shiny, like this shiny Trapinch right here. Another Master Ball that we got from the item printer, easy catch. The last method is my least favorite, but a lot of other people prefer it, the Masuda egg hunt. This method has existed since I believe Gen 4, and the way it works is you breed two Pokemon together from different regions. And I don't mean different regions in like Paldea and Kanto, I mean different regions like the United States and Japan. For me, I live in the United States, so I have Pokemon from the United States, in this case, Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxly. And then I have a Ditto from Japan. The way breeding works in Scarlet and Violet is you make a picnic and then you just have the Pokemon that you want to breed in the picnic. Since I have 3 different starter Pokemon, we'll have randomized eggs between those 3 starters. The problem is these eggs take forever unless you use an egg power sandwich, but we have a fix for that. Fast travel to the city of Medale, and then in the 3rd restaurant on the left, you can get the Compote de Feliz meal, which will give you egg power level 2 and make eggs so much quicker. This is how many eggs that I got after the 30-minute sandwich. Then what you'll need to do is get 5 of those eggs, add them to your party, and run around until they hatch. You can decrease the time that you need to hatch the eggs by adding a Pokemon with Flame Body to your party. In this case, I use Heatran just because I have it, and then hatch all the eggs, and eventually you will get a shiny. Like I said, this takes forever, and I've hatched about 1,000 eggs in Scarlet and Violet and still haven't found a shiny, but it's okay. Really, I would only recommend this method for hunting the 3 starter Pokemon because they're shiny locked everywhere else, but hunt how you see fit. And with that, you should have all of the knowledge needed to successfully hunt every shiny Pokemon in the game. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you want to see these methods put to the test, check out this video where I locked myself to the 4 regions of the terrarium until I found 3 shiny Pokemon per region.